So I wanted everyone to meet one of my really good friends, Robert Ferguson. Robert is a good friend that Will and I met a few years ago, who introduced us to a healthier way of living. I know Robert has a huge, long bio of all of the amazing things that he has accomplished. So I would ask you to kind of introduce yourself to all of our friends and let them know who you are, what you do, and what are some of the fun things that you do for fun in spare time.
Well, let me start off by saying thank you for taking the time to have a conversation with me. You and Will, your husband, are two awesome people. And it's funny, when I met you both at a Modere conference, you both had an energy that was contagious. And I literally fell in love in a positive, not gay way. I'm not, and I'm okay with all of that. I got cool shirts, LGBTQ, all of that. But I just found Will to be an extremely cool person. Not that you're not cool, because I think you are as well. But
it's a different bro love kind of a thing.
Yeah. Will's a good dude. He's a good guy, and I was connected to you guys, and then we connected on Facebook, and then you and I started working together, and you became a certified weight loss and nutrition coach, and I'm excited to see where all that's going to take you, because I believe that you're an amazing person. You have the heart of a teacher and someone who really wants to make a difference. And I think all of this will help your business. But in short, my background, I've been in the space of weight loss since 1995. I know I look 25.
I know. I was on the side.
Hey, I don't have any gray hair, by the way. That's the collagen, okay?
It is. That's what it is.
That's right. It is the collagen, which I take all the time. But I've been helping people lose weight since 1995. I've done 3 evidence-based clinical studies with big insurance companies. In the States, Aetna Insurance is one of the biggest, and I did work with them for quite a few years. I've also worked with United Healthcare, Anthem. Those are the 3 of the biggest. And then I've written 3 books on weight loss. I'm currently writing another one. And I work with a lot of professional athletes, a lot of celebrities, and I've done the work, and I've been consistent with it. I still serve on many boards, which when I met you, I was on the science board with Modere. I still serve on the Presidential Task Force on Obesity for the National Medical Association. So I share all of that just not to impress anybody, but just to impress upon them that the conversation that we're going to have and how I'm going to share information is not something that was made up. I'm not a journeyman. This is my livelihood. It's my profession. My master's is in counseling psychology. My undergrad is dietetics. So I've been in this space forever. I'm a former U.S. Marine and a former pro athlete. And so all of that being shared, again, I just want everyone to know that what we're going to talk about is not information that I'm going to share that's not real. It's all substantiated, and it's all to make a difference in the lives of people, individuals as well as families. So thank you for giving me a chance to meet your friends and family and colleagues and customers, and let's have some fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So like you were saying that we met at a conference, and I so remember when I brought Will with me because he was the biggest skeptic about weight loss and any of that. And he had decided to take the class that you were teaching that about the collagen products, the trim and stuff. And you opened his eyes to what the products are able to do, but also what you are able to do with your body just by the way of eating. So you opened up our eyes to what's possible. So he was extremely impressed with you, and that kind of helped him get healthy as well. So thank you for that. Definitely. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I remember that moment. That was the lean body sculpting system.
I know. He was taking notes. He took so many notes, and he just came out of, the training session like a kid out of a Disney store or something. So he was super, super excited about that. So yeah. So I have you on here today because I wanted you to kind of explain to my audience, to my friends, my customers, what is diet-free life? What are some options that women have? My age woman, I'm 43, and I noticed that once you hit that 40, the weight loss and the fat loss is just a little bit different than when you were 25 and you could just kind of eat whatever you wanted and the amounts that you wanted. So I want to help my friends, my customers, get an idea of what could they possibly do to get healthier, but at the same time still live a life without depriving themselves of the things that they enjoy.
All right, very well said there, Bogusia.
Thank you. See, you practiced that long enough that you can say it now.
Well, you know what? If people listen to us, they will learn some things that they probably didn't know, and or they will learn some things that they knew, but now they're just reinforced. Maybe they forgot. But we live in a world right now where there's so much confusion that it conflicts with the opportunities for people to get healthier. And you're dead on. Weight loss at 45 is totally different than 25. And with an abundance of information and all these people claiming different things, most people do realize that they're fads, meaning, okay, I could probably lose the weight going with a certain way of eating, but I know I'm going to probably gain it back. Or they put that off until it happens. What people don't know is that you don't have to give up anything, and you can actually learn how to eat foods in a way where you can lose weight, improve overall health. We're talking about improving triglycerides. We're talking about improving cholesterol. We're talking about helping a person with high blood pressure. We're talking about teaching someone how to eat in a way where they can lower their hemoglobin A1C as a type 2 diabetic from a high number to a number where it looks like they don't even have diabetes. And a lot of that can be done just by learning how to eat foods in the combinations that you teach. And it works. It's evidence-based. So when I say evidence-based, clinically proven, oftentimes nurses or people in the medical field, they go, oh, it gets their attention. But the average consumer, they go, well, okay, what does that mean? Like, it doesn't really mean much to them. They're just looking for the promise of, if I do that program, what will it do for me? And so evidence-based, you guys, is something that says we've done the work, we've had third parties involved, and it's proven that if you eat the way Bogusia teaches you how to eat, right, with the Diet-Free Life methodology, you're going to get these amazing results. And that's what really got my attention with Modere, is because I know the CEO, I know her family, I know that they take an evidence-based clinical approach. That's why we match up great, because no companies are saying, hey, we're going to also teach you about nutrition. We're also going to teach you about fitness. They're just selling products. And so what you've done is you've taken two clinical evidence-based approaches to getting healthier and made them one. So yes, products can help you. Like, I buy protein powder the same way I buy flour.
Right.
I buy collagen the same as I buy soap. I want soap. I need it. Otherwise, I'm not going to smell good. Right? And I'm going to use the collagen until I start seeing some gray. And right now, I've been taking the collagen since 2009 or 2010. My daughter, who's 13 now, started drinking it when she was, 2. And she looks like she's 4. No, I'm just kidding. So we can talk about that. And you know what? And weight loss is totally different for people who are maturing. And I want to share some insight, not to sell people, but our goal is to educate people so that they can benefit and live a life full of quality and not feel like they had to settle for where they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So one thing I was going to ask you, because I loved that story that you shared, and that's what kind of like got my heart, is how did you start the Diet-Free Life? Like, there was, I know there was a story with your mom that you saw your mom experiencing all of these things, and then you kind of knew that there had to be a better way than just her going on the treadmill or, doing what she was doing.
Oh man. So I think were you born and raised in America?
I was born in Poland. I moved to the States when I was 15.
Nice. So did you know, and this is off topic, but I'll bring it the current heavyweight of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC, is from Poland.
I don't watch that stuff.
Actually, light heavyweight. Well, I mean, I think it's a big deal because one of my good friends is from Poland, and he and I celebrate all the time because they're the light heavyweight champion from Poland. Yeah. So kudos to Poland. No, so my mom, when I was a little kid, I grew up watching my mom lose 100 pounds, and we all celebrated. I watched my mom gain 100 pounds back, and I saw her cry. And I saw her do that many times. And I'll never forget when I was in the kindergarten. My mom wanted to come to the school. And I said, Mom, you don't need to come to the school. And I remember her because she was walking me to the class, and I was late. I was like, I got it from here at 5 years old. And she goes, you don't want me to go? And I looked at my mom, and this is what I said. You're too fat. I told my mom that. I mean, I could cry. But kids are brutally honest, right? It's like my 10-year-old.
If you want to know the truth, you ask the kid.
Yeah. My 10-year-old looks at me like the other night. She goes, we're watching a movie, and this lady has crow's feet. She looks at me and she goes, I see one. I said, Faith.
You hush.
I mean, can you not point that out? Jeez. Okay. But no, I watched my mom go through that emotional roller coaster. I watched her do Atkins, cabbage soup, banana diet, potato diet. I watched her go get shots. I watched her get B12 shots. I watched her go, and it was sad. Fast forward, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm fitness because I've always done sports, but I had a group of women that asked me to do a seminar on weight loss because I was doing a lot of speaking, but it wasn't weight loss. And they assumed that I would have knowledge in that area because I was really into nutrition as a vegan at that time in my life. I'm not a vegan today. So long story short, I called my mom, hey Mom, I'm gonna do a seminar and I'm gonna teach these women about how to lose weight. And I figured I would call you because you know a lot about losing weight. And she said, son, don't do that seminar because those women are coming to you and they are humbled and they're looking for solutions and you don't know nutrition. And I was like, okay, I heard her. And then she says, but what you are good at is helping people bridge the gap between what you already know and what you do. And when you bridge that gap, which is largely around inspiration and motivation, you feel better about yourself on the inside. So I took her advice and I did the seminar. And when I did a seminar, I told the women up front, I said, look, you know more about nutrition and better health than I do. And of course, the women are looking at me going, well, why did I pay? Right? Why am I here? I said, but you already know. You know to drink more water than to drink more soda. You know that maybe eating more fish in your life instead of more beef in your life. You know these things. And when I was done with that seminar, they said it was the best weight loss seminar they had ever gone to. And that's when the light bulb moment took place. And I went back to school. I got a degree in dietetics. And then I created a program called Diet Free Life. And I knew that it had to be something that worked for my mom. So in closing on this part of my answer, my mom, at the time she did this program, was in her 60s. And she was done with diets. And she still didn't believe her son because everything I was saying that you could still eat fried chicken and you could still eat regular everyday foods and lose weight and be healthy, it went against everything from the time she began dieting.
Right.
So I had to make it mama approved. And so my mom played a big role in the development of Diet Free Life. And because of Diet Free Life, she lost 125 pounds and she never gained it back. because she never had to avoid carbs. She never had to give up any of the foods that she wanted to eat. It was the education of learning how to combine food in a way that keeps your blood sugar levels from fluctuating too high and dropping too low, and what we call fat burning mode.
Mm-hmm.
And she stays in fat burning mode. And so thousands of people now have experienced this. And we just completed a clinical study with a healthcare company called Gateway in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And the outcomes, like, mind blowing, because we took a population of people. You know, it was a large variety of ethnicities. You had Puerto Rican, you had Dominican, you had, Asian, we had African American, white. I mean, it was very diverse.
Mm-hmm.
We had people who literally lowered their hemoglobin A1C as a diabetic from 8% to 6% inside of 12 weeks. We saw triglycerides, cholesterol, and they're eating the foods that they eat all the time. They're eating the foods that actually, they would say, cause me to gain all this weight and mess up my health. But because they learn what you teach people, they're now living their healthiest life, and they want everybody to know.
And see, and that's what I love about it, is that you're not sacrificing anything. You don't have to buy special foods or special anything crazy. And it's something that you learn and you can take with you. So even when you're done with my coaching program, you can still go on and you can do all of that on your own, because it's sustainable. It's not something where, as soon as you start eating all of those foods again, you're going to
Right.
So, I mean, I will say I had kind of a bad relationship with food. Although I am smaller, I didn't have that much weight to lose, but I felt guilty about eating certain foods because society said that it was unhealthy. So anytime we would go to dinner and we would have a cheeseburger, he would get mad at me because I would say, oh my gosh, now we have to go on this cleanse and we have to do all of these things and eat healthy. And he's like, we had one cheeseburger. You're not going to die. We had a stint with keto. We did keto, and it was so extremely hard for me because I love fruit and I love vegetables. So I could not understand how is it that I can eat all the bacon, but I can't have an apple. So as soon as we were done, I ate a banana, the weight went back up. So I was so happy when we found this way of eating, because it was just sustainable. Like, I didn't have to give up anything. I can still have apple pie. I love apple pie, and I don't feel guilty about it anymore. So I just love it. And I am glad that you came up with this program. I'm glad that I was able to do the training and become a coach and help other people do the same thing, because I see what's going on in the society and the world, and it's not good. I mean, there's so many empty promises.
Well, what you just said touched on so many veins that many people are like this at home. Yes. Because it's so confusing. Whenever when I met the former first lady, Michelle Obama, and she had a program called Let's Move. One of the opening statements that I made during that time was, I said, the biggest problem that we have in getting people healthier is that the uninformed are being influenced by the misinformed. And then she said, so what do you mean? Can you elaborate on that? And I said, number one, let's take white rice, for instance. White rice is somewhat demonized in the United States, North America.
I was guilty. Yeah.
I was told that if it's white, it ain't right. So, but when you travel outside of America or North America, and you go to like Puerto Rico or Guatemala, or you travel just abroad, China, etc., they eat white rice. They don't eat brown rice. You don't even see wild rice as an option. And a lot of these countries and these people who are eating white rice on a regular, their health is not bad. they don't even have challenges with obesity. You see a big shift with obesity when it comes to them going to like the Kentucky Fried Chicken or the McDonald's and some of the fast food establishments that have moved into their country. But that's not even the problem. The fast food companies is not the problem. The problem is how they're eating the food. Because like when I was in the Marine Corps and I got stationed at this naval base where I ended up doing presidential security for Ronald Reagan. So that kind of gives you an eye. His last year of service, by the way.
So you were important.
Well, it was one of those things where, okay, if I do presidential security, I just want you guys to know that I wasn't 25. I was like, I just turned 19. But during that time, I ended up gaining a lot of weight as a Marine. And the reason I gained the weight is that every night when I would go to bed, I was on a naval base, and Marines don't hang out with Navy people. So I stayed by myself a lot. And I would go to the dorms where I would sleep, and right across from the dorms was a McDonald's. And McDonald's was the only thing I had that reminded me of my upbringing and home.
Right.
So for lunch and dinner, I ate the same meal. I would order a Big Mac, a fry. Usually I get a large fry and a small fry. I would get apple pie. I like their apple pies or their strawberry. I think they had strawberry.
I like the cherry pies. They used to have a cherry pie.
Oh, the cherry pie. Thank you. It wasn't strawberry. It was cherry. I would get a milkshake, and then I would get a little box of cookies. They used to have animal cookies. And then I would get a Diet Coke, and I would leave. And so I did that every day, twice a day, and I gained a lot of weight. The problem wasn't McDonald's. The problem was how much I ate at McDonald's. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
It's just, but when you have the education, all the things that you provide someone, it's kind of like if you look at the product Trim, right? So Trim is a supplement that you can take. It has conjugated linoleic acid in it. When I look at the product and when Ozma created the product, I was like, gold.
Yeah.
And I remember she was like, I like it. And we did like a clinical trial with it. Somewhat not an official clinical trial. We did like a trial where we had people use Trim and they followed diet-free life, and the outcomes were amazing. Now, could you say that the outcomes were just based on diet-free life, or could you say the outcomes were just based on the Trim?
Right.
I wouldn't say either one. I would say what we did, we demonstrated the outcomes based on the two together. Now, I have other evidence-based clinicals I've done where it's just diet-free life and the outcomes are good. We all get that if you eat and you act and your activity is good, but at the end of the day, if you want to maximize, that's when I say, and you can afford it, get the supplement.
Yeah.
Do diet-free life and use Trim, use the collagen if you're maturing, you want to really maximize what you look like. It's a no-brainer. There's nothing else there's really nothing to say.
No, and I love it that both of them are scientifically based, so they have science backing. Like I am such a sciencey geek. I like the numbers. I like the results that you get, from the clinical trials. I love that. And I like how when you put those together, the Trim is almost like an accelerant to the diet-free life. It makes it, more effective even so.
Hey. If I could make a business move and I could buy the college or the Trim, I would love to own Trim.
Right?
I would run with Trim. Please hear that. Great product. If I could steal it, I would, but I can't.
You just have to. You can use it. You can use it all you want. So yeah.
And I do. I still have Trim. I have Trim and the college.
It's amazing. So talk to me about, so you talked about being on President Bush or Reagan.
I did work with President Reagan.
Okay.
His last year of office.
So you talked about all the foods that you ate. So how would you eat McDonald's to make it diet-free life approved?
Well, that's a very interesting question.
Okay, so can you eat McDonald's and make a diet-free life approved?
Yeah. So the answer is yes. And it's so fun because I could do a 2-hour seminar on McDonald's. I've been to McDonald's. I've done work with McDonald's. I contributed to creating a product with McDonald's called the Egg White Delight. So anywhere in the world, they offer that. And boom, I played a huge role in that product coming to market. McDonald's as a company has done amazing things to improve the quality of what they make available. As a restaurant, they sell more apples than any restaurant in the world. They cut the sodium in their food big time. They got rid of all the trans fatty acids, so they're not contributing toward high cholesterol and heart disease. But no one hears about that because McDonald's gets demonized. And a large part of that is because of this movie or documentary called Super Size Me.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know, but Super Size Me was all propaganda. It wasn't real. But it got so much attention that there's schools that actually show that movie to the kids, and then they start to demonize a company like McDonald's. So when you ask the question, like, how do you make it work? I was doing a work with Aetna Insurance in Missouri. And before we did the work, they asked if we would do a 5-city tour and provide like an open forum. So it was like the public could come in. It was almost like a presidential election where before we started doing work in the state, they wanted to give people a chance to come and like a town hall meeting and hear what we're going to do. So I'm giving this presentation at Columbia University. And this lady in the middle of my talk, I'm talking about, I mentioned McDonald's. She stands up and she goes, I don't care what you say. I am not going to be recommending McDonald's to my clients. And she's a registered dietitian. And I said, okay, so what do you find unhealthy about McDonald's? And earlier I had mentioned the Big Mac. She goes, well, there's too much fat, Robert. Now there's a room of 600 people with me. And I'm at the podium and this woman's challenging me in front of 600 people.
I will be sweating buckets. Like I will be.
what she didn't know at the time is that I love those kind of challenges. So if you come to me, and I do posts sometimes on Facebook where I'll put it out there. I go,
oh, I see it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
If you're a physician, and I tell them, if you're a physician, you're a dietitian, and I got a lot of friends that are in that space. You're a personal trainer and you disagree, please speak up. And they never do because they can't. And it's not because I'm coming from a place of being a pompous or a jerk. I'm really coming from a place of, come on. Remember what I said earlier? The uninformed are led by the misinformed. So with this lady, I go, okay, let's look at the Big Mac. You believe it has too much fat. I said the Big Mac, based on the U.S. dietary guidelines, provides about 50% of the recommended amount of fat to intake one Big Mac. I said, you would have to eat another Big Mac, and I don't think you're going to eat a Big Mac 3 times a day, but you could, to exceed the amount of fat that you're consuming. So then she said, okay, I get your point. And I said, you're probably thinking that it has too much sodium. And she nodded, and I said, it only has 900 milligrams of sodium. The meal that we provided at that open town hall had probably 2 to 3 times the amount of sodium just in the marinade. Okay. So then she conceded, and I said, you're probably looking at the protein, or maybe not, because, it does have like the patties in there. And I said, it only has 25 grams of protein. 25 grams of protein is the equivalent of like 2 to 3 ounces of chicken breast. So that's not the problem. But you're probably thinking that it's the 3 slices of bread. And of course, everybody's like, yeah, the whole crowd. I said, the bread, or in a Big Mac, there's 45 grams of carbohydrates. 1 apple will give you 30 grams. So it's not the bread. So what's the problem? And all she could do was sit down because she was done. With the facts, when you have the facts and you present it, the problem is not the Big Mac. The problem is what you eat with the Big Mac. And I always say that if you eat the bread with the fries, you add inches to the thighs. So if you learn how to combine food, then you're good. So I'll go buy a Big Mac and just eat that as my meal. I've had many people lose a ton of weight eating a Big Mac, going to a Burger King, eating Wendy's, and also going to Applebee's, TGI Fridays. And my point is that you learn how to eat the foods that you're going to eat in private, but learn how to eat them in a way where it doesn't create damage to your health, but it supports and nourishes your health because you're going to eat it anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I go to McDonald's or I drive by Burger King. There's a line. There's a lot. Like I love the Impossible Burger at Burger King, and I went to get one the other day. The line was so long in the drive-thru because of this pandemic. I was like, geez, I didn't get my burger. I had to walk away.
And that's kind of my thinking behind it, is that we're going to eat those foods anyway. Like we're going to go and get McDonald's, maybe not every day, but every once in a while. But if you eat it properly with the proper sides, you don't have to feel guilty about it. And you don't have to feel like it's a cheat meal. So a lot of people say it's a cheat meal, it's this and that. And you almost put like this negative spin on it, that something that you're enjoying. I mean, that's something that, you know, it's comfort food for you. Like growing up in Poland, we always ate meat and potatoes. I move over here and everyone's like, God forbid you eat a potato. And I'm like, oh, I love meat and potatoes. So now I can't eat meat and potatoes. I'm like, what's going on?
Hey, well, you know, like if you go to Poland, you have meat and potatoes. Like I love potatoes.
I did too. And I felt guilty eating them.
You know what? One of our coaches, Annie Zeller, or I think that's her last name, but her first name is Annie. Annie's from Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
And Idaho is known for potatoes.
Hey.
Well, that got her and her sister's attention, right? And I eat white potatoes. And I mean, I'll eat the other potatoes. Like for Thanksgiving, I love using yams and make like instead of like mashed potatoes, I do mashed yams.
Yeah.
Cause I like it. I'm not trying to be healthier. That's what I like.
I like the color.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I like yams. And I don't eat them the way my mom ate them when I was growing up, but potatoes are amazing. If I was someone who had high blood pressure, I would eat a potato every day. It would be baked, it'd be stir fried, because of the potassium that you get from a potato and the increased amount of potassium, someone who has high blood pressure, it will help bring down the blood pressure. Okay. So instead of educating people and teaching people about nutrition, this country is like, everyone demonizes food and they want to get everybody to like focus on eating a certain way. And if you don't eat the way they eat, then you're wrong.
Right.
Very similar to politics, by the way.
Very much so.
Okay.
And I totally understand that, you know, everyone has different comfort foods. Everyone has different income limitations as well. So not everyone is going to be able to eat filet and a baked potato. Sometimes you have to eat the boxed mac and cheese, and you just have to pair it with something that's going to make it work for you. So I totally understand that. That's why, you know, we have friends and clients in different income levels. And I think this is amazing because anyone can utilize this and be successful with it.
We know that the philosophy is, we have that philosophy that says we meet people where they are.
Yes.
And that says it all. It says everything, because so many things that are out there are not delivered or introduced with any type of compassion or empathy. And when you don't have compassion and or empathy, it puts you in a position where you're more of a dictator about it, because if it doesn't match well with what you prefer, you can't even see from their eyes. And not everyone gets this, right? So my psychology background, being led with that, right? Remember I said before, the nutrition side and that education, I was coming from that place. And so I'm always thinking, how do you think that person feels? So for instance, again, this is a great example. There was a movie or TV show called Food Revolution. Did you ever see that?
I remember the name, yes.
Okay, so Food Revolution was produced by a guy named Ryan Seacrest.
Okay.
And they went to a place in Virginia, I think it was West Virginia. At the time, which was considered the most obese city city in the U.S. at the time.
Okay.
And so they wanted to go in and I forgot I can't think of the guy who was he was a chef, real popular chef, and he was the lead of it. It'll come to me in a second. So they go in and they end up doing, I think, 6 episodes. And I ended up being invited as a consultant after they did those episodes to see if they were going to move forward. And I go in and I was really quick. I share with them, his name is Bobby, chef guy. Okay.
Flay?
It wasn't Bobby Flay. Okay. It'll come to me. So I go in and I'm listening to everyone. And then I said, I'm in total disagreement with everything this show is about. And everybody looked at me like, huh? I said, there's a moment in the show where you went up to this Hispanic kid, and that kid was under the belief, based on what you were saying, that eating white bread was bad and they should be eating brown bread. And I said, and everybody's like, okay, what's the point? Whole wheat's better than white bread. I said, you're not getting it. Here's my point. My point is, when the cameras are off and everyone goes home, all you wealthy people go home, that little kid who lives in the hood, he goes home, and whatever his daddy or mommy, if they're both in the same house, one of them went to the food bank and they got food subsidized, and whatever they can get is the best they got. So when that kid comes home with white bread, how do you think that kid is looking at his dad now? Because this TV star just said, if it's white, it ain't right.
Yeah.
And that's all you can get? You set that kid up for total judgment on his parents? And when I went deep into it, everyone in the room were like, they were quiet and they had to agree. And that show didn't go forward because it was disrupting in a negative way. Because you can make, like, what a lot of people don't realize, the government is not set up to encourage people to eat foods that are not fit for human consumption. No one's perfect, but McDonald's, for instance, they have 3 different companies that are focused on seeing problems with them because they want to catch the problem early.
Right.
And these are the things that the average consumer has no idea about. And the lack of compassion to understand it, look, if all I have is this, show me how to make that work.
Yeah.
And that's why, we are where we are, because there's not a lot of programs that are meeting people where they are and speaking to their current situation.
Absolutely. And that's so true. Whenever I have a new client starting on the lean body system, they always say, okay, so how do I eat? What do I have to give up? Like, what kind of restrictions do I have to put on myself? That's the first question that I always get. And it's kind of educating them that, listen, there's so many different ways that you can still eat the things that you enjoy. We're just going to kind of adjust a little bit on it. So, but people always expect, like you have to give up potatoes, or you have to give up rice, or you only have to eat cabbage soup. I had someone on cabbage soup for a week. And the thing was that she lost a lot of weight, but then as soon as she started eating normal food, everything came back up. So it's not recommended.
Well, so I'm gonna share something with you, which I know you know, but those of you who are listening and you're over the age of 40 and you're a woman, okay, hear me on this. When you avoid food groups and go excessive amounts of time without eating, so let's say you're doing keto or intermittent fasting, and my goal is not to bash on those programs. That's not my goal. But I'm always going to tell the truth. And time reveals all. So in time, you'll know the truth. So anyone who's gone through those things and hear what we're talking about, they will probably message you and email you because they need your help to coach them. So when you're 40, your metabolism does slow. Not so significant that you're going to wake up in one day and be 20 pounds heavier, but it slows. And everything in your body works a little differently. And some people are going to start to develop more fat deposits that we call intramuscular fat that then interferes with communications that put that person in a position where when they are ready to lose weight, it's going to get harder. It's going to be more challenging. And they're going to feel like they need to cut their calories even more. And they need to like exercise even more. And then when they turn 50, they're going to notice it's even harder. And at 60, even harder. And most people give up around that time because they don't have it in them. And maybe they're not in a good relationship. Maybe, you know, having romantic moments with their spouse is no longer anymore. So they really don't care what they look like with their clothes off. I mean, there's a whole bunch that comes into this. And then by the time they're 70, because they never got what you can teach them inside of 21 days, they give up. And then the body totally changes, and then everything starts to break down. It's almost like a cancer patient, if you will, because I just had a very, very, very close friend of mine die from cancer last week, and it just killed me. And when I saw him, this guy was a bodybuilder. He was extremely fit. He took care of himself. He went to extremes to do that. But when your time comes, and everything started shutting down. That is going to happen to all of us in some way or another. But between now and then, there is an opportunity for quality of life. And the quality of life largely depends on how we consume nutrition. That's why someone would need to run to you. Based on what I know, Bogusia, based on what I 100% know, if I wasn't a diet-free life coach like you, and I found myself, you know, with type 2 diabetes, I would run to you and I would say, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. And that you would then bring evidence, whether it's the products or whether it's the way of eating, to the platform that you have to help me. I wouldn't question one thing. I would just do it. Because both things that you are part of are evidence-based and they're proven to work. Mm-hmm. I mean, and so everyone who's listening, if, you know, like I used to have 22-year-olds come to my office. I said, you know what, let's talk for 20 minutes and then this conversation's over. No, I want to be a client. No, you really don't need to be a client. You know why I used to say that to them?
No, tell me.
I used to say, in my mind, I would be going, because you don't know what it feels like, the struggle.
Yeah.
You have no idea yet. Mm-hmm. So once you go and struggle, and when you're ready for something that's real, I'll be here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's my mentality and I'm not beating up on 20-something-year-olds, you guys. I love you. I have daughters that will one day be 20-something. But the reality is, it does help if we meet someone who knows that we're not talking crap and this is not bull crap. This is real. And we're going to help you with some real guidance that's going to help you live your best life moving forward. And that's the fact.
That's true. There's so many female clients who come in and that's their issue, is they've tried everything and it works for a little bit, but then they hit a plateau and they drop calories and they keep dropping and dropping and dropping, and there's no more calories to drop. Like, it gets to the point where it's just not safe for you. So I love this, that I can educate people, that I can help them this way. Yeah, I am looking forward to helping more people, more women. I know I have a lot of men clients with type 2 diabetes as well. So I know that's going to help as well. So yeah, looking forward to that. So talk to me about carbs. Like, what is up with carbs?
All right, carbs is the enemy of the...
Because we all love carbs, but then we feel so guilty about eating them.
It's so sad. Okay, so you have metabolism, okay, and that's a general term that's used, right? And it basically is summarized by your body consumes food, it uses the food, and every time it's using it, exchanging it, placing it in cells throughout the body, requires calories to be burned. But there's this thing called fat metabolism. When you consume fat, fat has a different pathway. It's like a different road that it goes down and your body uses it. Totally different than protein metabolism.
Mm-hmm.
Protein is used like a whole different pathway, different road. And then there's carbohydrate metabolism. And again, same thing. Everyone metabolizes carbs uniquely, the same as we have a unique fingerprint. This program that we made available called Icora, when we sit down, or if you guys reach out to Bogusia and she works with you, she will be able to quickly assess on if we're going to go with this program that we have called Icora, or if you're going to go with our general program called the Diet-Free Life methodology. Now, Diet-Free Life as a method is still Icora. It's just that we're able to match your metabolism in a way where there's no more guessing. And this is not for a 21-year-old or probably a 26-year-old. It's more for people who feel like they've done everything they can do to lose weight, but nothing seems to be working. They've gone from this diet to that diet. With Icora, we can quickly take in some basic information inside of a couple minutes, and we can match your metabolism and have you eat according to how your body metabolizes carbs, with the goal of increasing your ability to eat more carbs without gaining weight. So hopefully that made sense. And if it didn't, post some questions and we'll answer.
Oh, it makes total sense to me. I understand that your body does need carbs to fuel it, and some of the organs, or I know you need carbs for your thyroid health, for your adrenal health. So a lot of women my age and older suffer from a thyroid disease or adrenal fatigue. And when you're doing all of these fad diets and stuff, it's just not helping anything.
Not at all. There are people who would be alive today if they were doing Diet-Free Life after being diagnosed with COVID. 100%. One of my dear friends, she's an FDA cleared gastroenterologist. She does a lot of studies. She's had over 400 patients who had COVID. Not one of them is dead. I walk into her office. She doesn't have a mask on. None of her employees have a mask on. I'm actually being added to her board and doing some work with her. But because she totally gets it, she goes, Robert, you haven't had COVID, have you? I said, no. I've been tested 9 times. I've been to Pennsylvania 14 times in the last 3-4 months. I've been to Arizona. These are hot spots. I've been to Florida. I've been to Michigan. I don't have COVID. I don't expect to get it. And then she looked at me, she goes, so your vitamin D levels, what are they like? I said, my vitamin D levels are really high. And she goes, well, let's test it. So we tested it. And guess what? They were really high. Most people don't know that eating a portion of salmon will give me all the vitamin D I need based on U.S. dietary guidelines for the whole day. When people think of vitamin D, they're just thinking supplements. They're not even thinking about the foods they're consuming and the benefit of walking out into sunlight. So education, again, is king.
Yeah. And that's what I love, is that we're not just preaching and we're educating people. We're showing them how to pair their foods together. We're showing them how to eat it, when to eat it. I mean, the importance of how many times you're eating a day. I mean, how important is that? People who only eat once or twice a day, like what does that do to their glucose levels and everything else? So
that's a great question. Like one of the answers in the world of economics and business is that they'll say, follow the money, Robert. Follow the money. Like for years, I just go, what the hell are they talking about? Follow the money. So, and then I talked, as far as eating on a regular basis or like so many times a day, I went and looked at what the sumo wrestler does. And the sumo wrestler, their goal is to gain as much weight and be as heavy, big, and active as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So they have it down to a science because there's money that's involved when you're heavier. So they eat once, sometimes twice a day. They don't drink much water. So do the opposite of the sumo wrestler to speed up your metabolism, because the sumo wrestler is purposely slowing their metabolism. Well, that would mean eating like a baby. How often do you feed a baby? Every 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
And so we get people, as you know, with the program, is to get people eating 3 meals a day, snacking in between, and that helps keep the blood sugar levels from fluctuating too high and dropping too low. Like, I swear to you, Bogusia, and I think you know this, I don't even have to say that, but I have been in a room with so many smart people, very established physicians, lawyers, doctors, I mean, you name it. And when I first start talking about Diet for Your Life, almost everybody's like this.
Right.
Their arms are crossed, their legs are crossed, sometimes they're turned to the side, because in their mind, it can't be that simple as to teach people how to eat. Like, it can't be that. Even when I did the work with this insurance company right now, they were like, Robert, if it was that simple, that easy, then why wouldn't everybody be doing this? That's exactly why it's not that simple. And that's exactly why it's not that easy, because it's people like you who keep blocking the average everyday person from getting access to the information that will make their life one of freedom and not restriction.
Mm-hmm. That's
and
so
then
true.
all of those experts become clients of Diet for Your Life. Trust me. All of them.
I believe you. I believe you. I see the things that you post. I see the things that you talk about, and it's amazing how quickly you can change someone's perspective on how to eat, as long as you kind of provide the science behind it, or the proof. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, kind of a thing. So.
All right, the proof is in the pudding. Proof is in the pudding.
I have one other question that I want you to explain, because I like explaining it to people too, the body composition. So when a client comes into me, they always have a number in mind. They want to lose 40 pounds. I'm like, what if you don't lose 40 pounds, but you look smaller? And I know a lot of the times it's kind of a mental thing where you like that number to go down on the scale, but it's not always doing so. So how would you explain muscle and fat loss, or body composition?
Well, this is the gold in what we do. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And like your CEO, Ozma of Modere, this is where I mean, Ozma really did get what I bring to the table. Unfortunately, we weren't able to like create a way to grow this together. And that's a compliment to Ozma. And that's why Trim is such an amazing product, because it's designed to reduce fat and maintain your lean muscle tissue. The biggest challenge with all of that is that there's an educational curve to it. So you're taking the average person Susie down the street, who is a mom and she wants to stay at home business, and maybe she didn't do much in school. That doesn't mean much, but she's in a position where she just wants to sell a product. Well, if she's not empowered with being able to explain how this product works, then she's setting herself up for disgruntled customers to come back. So I preface with that because, and it's interesting because I just had this conversation about 3 hours ago. I have 2 clients who are husband and wife. The husband came to me who's a diabetic. His hemoglobin A1C is 11%. That's very high. His triglycerides are elevated, and he's just like freaking out. They have him on metformin, which is something you take when you have type 2 diabetes. And his wife was like, hey, I want to support you, so I want to do this together. So they both became a client. They're both close to 300 pounds. And today was our 7-day mark.
Mm-hmm.
His blood glucose today was the lowest it's been in months. He's down 10 pounds in total weight, but more importantly, he's down 2% body fat. She's down 1% body fat. So what does that mean? Because when they come in, they don't get that. So the big first hurdle is that the average person only understands what they see as weight, and they don't understand body composition. Body composition is when we take a look at your percentage of how much of your weight is fat weight, which is what we want to get rid of, and lean body mass, which is what we want to keep. Muscle, bone, tendons, water in the body. So you want that number to stay where it is. When that number goes down, it's not good. Keep that where it is and grow it, but drop the body fat, because the fat is actually the negative. That's body composition. If a person does trim only, and with Diet for Your Life, and they're going along the way, and they drop 5 pounds, well, 5 pounds of what? You're able to say it's 5 pounds of fat, or it's 4 pounds of fat, 1 pound of lean body mass. And that's very important information.
Yeah.
But without you, they buy the product. Let's say they use trim. They go 2 weeks and they go, this product is not working. Bogusia.
I get it. No, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you go, well, I mean, so what are you basing that on? Well, I started, I was 210 pounds. 2 weeks later, I'm 211 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it ain't working. Well, that's because they don't understand body composition. If they had tracked their body fat, right? So let's say that you're 210 pounds and you drop 5 pounds of fat, but you gain 5 pounds of muscle, water, and bone.
Mm-hmm.
Your weight's the same, and you're like, it ain't working. Oh my goodness. You know how sad I get sad inside thinking about that? Because they don't realize that they've made a lot of progress.
Yeah.
Because they don't realize it, one, because they're not tracking their body fat percentage. Two, they're not tracking their measurements. Anyone who uses trim as a product, they must track their measurements, and they must track their body fat percentage if you want them to be happy.
Yeah.
If it's only about the weight on the scale, one, they bought into a lie, and it's not their fault. It's no one's fault. It just is what it is. But we have to educate them. There's an educational curve that is necessary for such a significant and amazing product as shrimp. And the saddest part is I would watch people go, no, I'm not working. They quit using it. I go, wow, they have no idea what they just gave up that was actually helping them. So I think I answered your question. Cause I can go on.
Thank you. No, I know. It's one of those subjects that you can kind of keep going on and on and on and on. So
you just I just want to slap them. Like, I just want to like grab them, open up their head and just scrub it, like clean it so new information can come in. That's what I would like to do.
It's just, we watch too much TV. We see things on social media that are not always what they're not always true. I mean, we see a pretty picture, but we don't see, it's kind of like when you go walking by in the mall and you see a mannequin in a cute dress, and then you go behind it and you see all the clothespin that are kind of holding it together. That's what a lot of this kind of reminds me of. So no, totally.
It's funny, like it's so funny. Like, I have moments where I go, like, I like being decent. I like decency. I like being respectful. I get all that. But every day in my space, I watch a lot of celebrities that are my clients lie on how they lost the weight. Kills me on the inside. There's a very popular network marketing person who I helped lose a lot of weight. I coached this person, and they have this big, like, I'm talking thousands, if not millions of people. And I sign an NDA, so we have a non-disclosure. I don't talk about what I'm doing with them publicly, and they don't talk about me publicly, which is fine. But unfortunately, I follow some of these people because, you know, you create a relationship, and I watch them lie about how they're able to stay lean and keep the weight off. And I almost feel like I'm battling with this right now. And this is on a personal level. Like I'm having a really hard time being okay with their lies.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me not want to work with them because it's just not cool. And I think by the end of this year, there's 3 of them that I'm going to let go of, which means I'm letting go of a good amount of money. And I could probably, I guess, unfollow them and not have to see it and just keep getting the money. But deep down inside, it's not right for me. It's not worth it to be part of their lie.
But then when you think about it, someone with so much influence, I would think that they would want other people to know how they do it. So other people would be educated and they could get the same type of, you know, results. I mean, that's what I would do. I mean, this is why I'm doing the diet-free life. This is why I'm doing, where'd you go? This is why I'm doing the diet-free life.
Oh, no, I'm right here. I wanted you to see. No, I wanted you to see my photo.
Is that a current photo?
Yeah, I just wanted you to see my photo.
No, so I always go out of my way to educate people and to kind of let them know the things that I know that I can improve their lives. I don't want to keep it a secret. So I would imagine that someone with, you know, so much influence would do the same thing, but I guess not. So
no, that's because you're a caring, loving person who has morals and empathy and compassion that, you know, makes it possible for you. That's why I think you're a great coach.
mm-hmm.
And not everybody's that way. You know, a lot of celebrities are all about like how many likes they get. I mean, they got it down to a science where they go, I say, how many likes you got? How many followers? I got 17,400. Like, they know the number. And if that number changes, they go, yeah, I lost 3 yesterday. Like, wow, you're watching that closely?
Right. I don't even know. I'm like, I don't know. People come and go. Okay, so I have a question from you for my husband from the living room. He said, ask Robert, what's right more often, a scale or a weatherman or a politician? I don't know. That's my husband.
That can only come from Will.
I know. I have him every day, so I
like the way he thinks. He's very, very creative. He'd be a great.
You too. So, how would you? So, let's say the diet-free life.
Mm-hmm.
One is interested. They would reach out to me and tell them what the program is like. What the basic program that we have? Like, what consists? What do they have to do? What do they not have to do? We don't beat them with a stick. I can say that.
Well, the first thing is I recommend schedule a free, FREE, free consultation with Bogusia. Then you'll learn about it. That'll probably take about 20 minutes. And then it's up to you if you want to become her client or not. And if you become a client, what you're going to learn very quickly inside of 21 days is how to eat whatever you want to eat in a way where it helps you lose the weight, improve your health. If you're diabetic, don't even think about it. Just contact her like now. If you're pre-diabetic, now. What a lot of people don't realize is that there's over like close to 100 million people that are pre-diabetic that don't even know it. So I would, and that's just in the US. Mm-hmm. So if you just want to learn about nutrition, even if you don't got weight to lose, contact this lady. And after that free consultation, you're going to learn how to eat all types of foods in combinations where you're able to eat these foods and not damage your health, but improve your health. you're going to learn like so much that you're just not aware of. Your life will be totally changed. And I can only just kind of go back, because I had a session today with that husband and wife. They're so happy. They feel so blessed and happy that they discovered this. It changes everything for them. Everything. He's not concerned. He's not losing sleep now. He's not frustrated. He's like excited about every day, because as in his words, he was like real quick. He goes, Robert, what I'm liking about this already is that it's not like I can never eat pizza again. It's not that I have to give up the white potatoes. It's not that I have to like quit eating, or even having if I'm really craving a soda, I want a soda. Is there a way to have a soda? And to learn that I now know how to eat those things in a way where it's not damaging my health. Hey, thank you. And those are their words. And I've heard that. I mean, well, you're beginning to learn that, but you get to hear it when you hear it thousands of times. It's mind blowing. So reach out to this lady, you guys. At least do a free consultation. Take your life and health to another level.
I always look at it as, do it for you, but also do it for your family. I mean, if you have kids, do it for your kids. You want to see your kids, graduate high school and get married and have kids of their own. So, yeah, I think that's important, taking care of your health. That's one thing that you can't give up on. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and as we come to a close, I have a question I want you to ask Will. And that is Will, in your spare time, I would say, I would like to know how many of our politicians who are in office, whether Democrat or Republican, are in the healthy range of weight. Because if our politicians are our leaders, and let's say that the majority of the politicians have excess body fat, then what does that have to say about where we are and where we're headed as a country?
Mm-hmm.
Most of those policies, if I went and did a seminar in front of our entire Senate, all of our Congress people, trust me, they would have no idea about what you know.
Yeah.
You're so far ahead of what they understand. They don't get it. All they know is that they want to keep having antibiotics pumped into a lot of the beef that's made available to people. They don't put any energy or thought into it. It's just not of a concern to them. They're led by the dollar. And until we change that to where they can make more money and be in a better position because people get healthier, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. Otherwise, we're looking at these people who supposed to be leading us, and to follow their lead, well, that's not going to happen. You need to be your own leader.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, and education is key in being your own leader and provider, so that you can live your healthiest life. And the way I eat, my kids see how I eat. They see how their mom eats, and that's how they eat. I mean, I ate chicken like every day when I was a kid. And I think my mom still wonders today why I don't look like a chicken. We ate chicken and everything. It's like you become what your parents put in front of you, until you get to a place where maybe education opens your mind and you can see that life can be lived a little different. Yeah.
A lot of flexibility. So, yeah.
That's
well,
it.
I want to say thank you so much for taking the time and putting a light onto this and explaining all of these things. I learn something every single time I talk to you, every single time I read one of your posts, I learn something new. So this has been an educational moment for me as well, and I'm sure to my friends as well. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you and Will. And I look forward to all the great things you're going to do. And I look forward to us being in San Antonio and enjoying some breakfast tacos together.
I know. I'm looking forward to those as well.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Thank you, guys.